consequence soon from so young, what's up with you? Talking about, I don't think that was somebody.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the show, man. It is the Rocket Out Vlog. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Really do appreciate it. As we do every single week, every single Friday, we film here at JBTV Studios and we discuss some of the bigger music headlines of the week. And as always, joining me, the most esteemed panel, and this week, no different, South by Southwest special panel. To my immediate right, we have Chris Kramer of the band The Lemons. Chris, thank you for taking the time. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well.
Excellent. Thank you for being here. In the middle, we've got managing editor of Consequence Sound 1, Adam Kibble. Thank you for coming back.
Thanks, Sammy.
Your return, your second time.
Number 2.
Do you feel comfortable?
No.
Okay. and then at the very end, we've got very, very special guest, the owner of Treehouse Records and also a member of the band Petty Crimes, also playing at South by Southwest 1, Matt Measer. What's up, buddy?
How's it going, Sam?
Good, man. Good to have you in my house for a change.
Yeah, it's weird.
How do you like it?
I like it. It's nice.
Yeah, not as cool as a treehouse, but it is what it is.
It's got neon.
It's got neon, so I mean we do have that going for us. We'll see. We dive into some headlines today, gentlemen. Is that you guys ready to have a little discussion?
Sounds good.
Excellent. So the first one that we're going to be talking about involves these two gentlemen. One, Robin Thicke, son of Alan Thicke, who wrote, of course, the Growing Pains theme song. If I'm not mistaken, that's correct. And then Pharrell Williams, formerly of NERD, now a solo act in his own right. And they were recently found guilty of plagiarism because the song Blurred Lines, which was penned by both of them, a judge said that it had plagiarized off the Marvin Gaye song, got to give it up, and as punishment, they will be paying Marvin Gaye's estate $7.3 million, which to some in the music world, if you made a lot of money, I suppose Adam brought this up earlier, if you made a lot of money in the music world, 7.3, maybe like chump change.
Paul's got that much in his hat.
Yeah, that's a $7.3 million hat.
Robin Thicke is singing into a song called Money.
It's fine point. But $7.3 million they have to get to the Marvin Gaye estate, and then recently the estate came out and said that they would like to have all future sales of Blurred Lines stopped immediately. This actually surprised me, considering that there have been other instances in popular music where one band may have ripped off another band. One that specifically comes to mind is Red Hot Chili Peppers' Danny California ripping off seemingly Tom Petty's Mary Jane's Last Dance. This has happened many times, but it's never, I don't think, really gotten to the point where it had to go to court and a judge, decided that you are found guilty and now you must pay this much and so forth and so on. So why do you think they decided to make a ruling on this one? Adam, so
It could just be that there were multiple writers involved in the writing of this new song. It seemed like Pharrell and Robin Thicke weren't necessarily on the same page when it came to their defense. There was some blaming of each other as to whose fault it was, and if it had just been one of them, maybe they would have settled out of court, but it's possible they just thought they could blame it on the other person and walk away from it.
What you said earlier is that it got brought to court. I just think that's why it was such a big deal. Like Tom Petty, there was that one song like a couple weeks ago. Yeah, that Sam Smith song. And to be honest with you, I listened to them, and I didn't think they were that similar. I mean, the chord progression's the same, but every rock song is the same as a Tom Petty song. I mean, seriously. I didn't think it was that similar, but they did. Sam Smith wrote that song, Tom Petty wrote that song. They sold it out of court. It wasn't a big media thing, you've got a guy singing in a gold microphone in this one, so it's like, everything's blowing up. But do you think that because of the fact that there actually was a ruling on this particular case and the artist lost in this instance, now they have to pay up this much money and now they're being told by the estate, you can't sell the song ever again, kind of thing. Does this essentially open the floodgates now for other artists to come out and say, well, this guy ripped off my shit, and now I want my comeuppance? I mean, Chris,
I think this one's interesting because, like, the Sam Smith one, Mary Jane's Last Dance, or even George Harrison, My Sweet Lord, those are all pretty clear melodic rip-offs. This one has a vibe. The jury was not allowed to hear the songs in the courtroom. They looked at, the sheet music, and on paper, these two songs are not the same song. But it's got a cowbell,
and it's got like a funky Thunder Roads, and like that's enough. Like you can imagine the Marvin Gaye song, if they just kept playing that long enough, it would have turned into Blurred Lines. Like it's a very, very similar groove to it.
Right.
It's a funky song that sounds, to the ear very similar, but like the way it's written, completely different songs. So this kind of sets a precedent where you just can't sound like other artists that are successful. I kind of agree with you. It's just got the same vibe where it's like, all this new sample music, I mean, what's going on there if this is, generating $7 million and all this copyright infringement and all that?
If I'm remembering correctly, there were interviews where either Robin Thicke or Pharrell, possibly both, were talking about Marvin Gaye and specifically that song. So I think there's something more to it than just the vibe. There's some intentionality. There's got, I don't know, at least in those quotes it would suggest it.
But I mean, like, I think in the case of samples, as you brought up, I mean, with sampling, at least they have to clear those rights in advance, if I'm not mistaken. They have to go through that artist and say, hey, we're going to use your... I mean, they're supposed to. I know there's definitely been instances where they don't.
Right.
Well, I mean, because, samples all over the place.
Yeah.
So that they think, well, if I'm just using the hi-hat, like this one snare hit off of this one song, no one's going to really notice.
Yeah. But I mean, you can go back to Vanilla Ice and all of that controversy, and, like, sure, there were probably a rash of lawsuits of people saying this ripped off that for a while, and then it faded away again until another high-profile, lots of money artist got caught. Caught's probably the wrong word, because that implies that I think they're definitely guilty of something, but they don't. But, there very well could be a rash of high-profile things like this, and then smaller profile until it fades into the background again, until one explodes into the rest.
So do you think that something like this, now that an actual plagiarism claim was taken to court and there was a guilty verdict made, do you think that this is going to put bands on high alert, in a sense that I have to now really, really try to start making, like, truly original music and try not to rip off artists as much, or try not to, kind of like use them as too much of an influence in the music that I'm writing and in the music that I'm putting out? That's going to be a problem for really high-profile artists, I mean, the whole Chicago music scene right now is just kind of a giant rip-off of anything made in the 50s and 60s, so I think it's just really, high-profile artists that are going to be affected by it. The only times this will become an issue for bands that are, like you were saying, now bands have to be really careful about how they're sounding and stuff, and who's influencing them and how much they're influencing them. I just think that's going to be an issue with, like, high-profile artists, not so much, lower key bands.
Right. The four of us could go out the door and just write a T-Rex song.
Yeah.
Nobody would ever say much.
Don't make a bunch of money. Anyway, as I said earlier, the running theme of this show, I guess, is going to be South by Southwest. It is happening right now, as a matter of fact, in Austin, Texas. The interactive